Hey everyone, it's me again, Anya, and today I want to talk about the Beatles a little bit. Um, in case you couldn't tell by the fact that I've done like three bass covers of Beatles songs, and the fact that I have one of their albums like back there, as one of you very cleverly noticed, I really like the Beatles. In fact, they are my favorite band like ever. They have been like my top one artist on Spotify for like 10 years now, and I know so much about these four gentlemen. I probably know more about them than my own family history. I love them, I love their music, and it means a lot to me. And it's part of the reason why I just play music myself. So yeah, I know my shit when it comes to talking about the Beatles. So I thought we could do a tier list of the Beatles albums because it's been a while since I've done a tier list video on this channel. So let's do it. So here they are, a tier list of the Beatles albums. I put them in order because, of course, it's just best to go that way. So, please me. Um, you can tell that this album was made in one day. It's not bad. It's got a lot of very recognizable songs, but I mean, it's simple. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just simple. I can't lie, I don't really find myself um, going back to listen to this album that much. And of course, even within the Beatlemania period, I think they would go on to make much more interesting stuff than Please Please Me. Uh, Again, I also don't want to give all of the albums an A or S tier because, I mean, this is the Beatles, let's be honest, they would all get that. So I'm just gonna be a little more fair and put it in C. I think this is our baseline. I think for just well, this album is pretty special because I do think it's the closest we have on record to what it was like seeing the Beatles in like the Cavern Club or live in the Star Club in Hamburg. Um, so that does make it really special. But I just don't really think it's the best. It's just C tier. It's good, but they would go on to make much better stuff. With the Beatles, B tier. Um, is it B tier though? Actually, no. I think it's ah there. This is a much better album in my opinion. I just think they were making more interesting stuff. They were starting to put in new instruments. There were more original songs, and it all sounds so nice. This is what Beatlemania sounds like in the beginning, and you have a lot of really well-known songs by them here as well. I like that this kind of establishes the formula that many of their albums would follow in terms of who gets to write which songs. For example, of course, you have the one or two songs written by George. You have the one song sung by Ringo. It again, this album I think set a lot of trends for the band, and that you could already tell that they cared. I think there's a lot of care. There's more care that went into this album compared to the first one, which is why I like it more. I think some of my all-time favorite songs from this period are there. Don't Bother Me, All My Loving. Um, oh, what's the other one? Shit. I'll remember in a bit, but yeah, I like this. It's still very much just a um, it's not musically complex, of course. Oh, Till There Was You. Till There Was You. That's the other song I really like. And I think it's a cover. But anyway, you have the Beatles showing that they can handle a wider variety of songs than what exactly they were playing in the clubs and what they were playing live. So I can understand their frustration when they realize that they cannot really play these songs when they're playing live because of all the sensation around them and Beatlemania and whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Hard Day's Night. Oh, high B tier for me. I think this is the best, one of the best Beatlemania albums. I think it's the first album that they made that where like all of their songs are original. I'm pretty sure. Um, so yeah, that's already a really significant milestone. Of course, the first half of this album is associated with the movie A Hard Day's Night, a movie that I love and adore. And just like that movie captures the height of Beatlemania really well, so does this album. Um, it keeps you listening. It doesn't get boring. I don't think this album has any filler, to be honest. It's fantastic. Of course, they got some of their biggest hits here, like the title track, like the "Can't Buy Me Love," and of course some of the my favorite songs by them, and a very popular song like "And I Love Her." So good. It's so good. Iconic cover too, may I say, probably the most iconic one so far. And I just really like it. Again, the Beatles here perfected what they were doing with the first two albums because not all of the songs sound the same. Again, it doesn't get repetitive, it doesn't get boring. If you want to listen to Beatlemania, this is where most people go. This is not where I go. I will talk about that in a bit, but yeah. B tier. Beatles for Sale has such interesting instrumentals for some songs. It's insane. Like, you see songs like Mr. Moonlight, you see songs like No Reply, 8 Days a Week, man. These songs sound so pretty, but like, the whole album is brought down by the fact that I do believe that there are filler songs in this album. It's not super good all of the way through. Like, I mean, Kansas City, rock and roll music, I like the songs, I do, but they're boring. They're not the most interesting thing out there, and considering the highs that this album has, it is such a shame that if I want to listen to this album the whole way through, I have to go through some of the lows as well. I think George's song and Ringo's song on this album both are kind of whatever. I think probably some of their worst in any Beatles album. And there are still covers in here, so it's not all original material. I like the cover, and again, it is a nice listen. But again, it's not my favorite ever. In fact, I might even like swap it with the Beatles. These two can be swapped. I don't mind, but I will leave them here because I personally like Beatles for Sale more. And yeah, Help. I love Help. This is my favorite Beatlemania album. Um, Depending on whether or not we count Rubber Soul as a Beatlemania album, which many people do, I personally don't, but actually, even if I did, I think I actually might like Help more. Help, I just love it so much. I think this is, for me, this is my Beatlemania album. If I want to listen to Beatlemania, I go to, and I hear this album. I think there's a lot of underrated songs in this album. Um, like for example, The Night Before, It's Only Love. These are songs that I really like, and of course, not to mention the hit songs from this record, and songs that they would play live a lot, like of course Help, Ticket to Ride, Dizzy Me's Lizzy, and songs like that. There's also great songs like You've Got to Hide Your Love Away. Here you can really tell that the Beatles were being influenced by their contemporary artists like Bob Dylan in this case. One second. But they're showing more care in their writing. Like, it's still pretty simple instrumentals, in a way very similar to something like with the Beatles, but I think by now they're just so used to writing songs, and they're all love songs, of course, but I still like them a lot. They're catchy. They've got what they had, they were doing a lot. And these are songs that are, again, really able to be played live still, which is cool because you still had, again, a lot of creativity, especially from Ringo and George. They were really starting to come into themselves within their instruments and giving us some of the most interesting guitar parts, like George's guitar parts on Help and Ringo's drumming on Ticket to Ride, of course. All so interesting, magnificent stuff. I love it. I personally love it so much. Um, Rubber Soul. Ah, I really like Rubber Soul. Some people think it's the best album. Honestly, when after the Rubber Soul and onwards, I think there are people who think that each of these next albums, except for Yellow Submarine, are one of their best albums, or the best album. I don't think it's the best album, but I really like Rubber Soul. I mean, of course, this is where the Beatles were doing, they started doing the stuff that they are really known for, which is like making some of the best fucking music ever. Uh, and so I cannot ignore the importance of Rubber Soul. I just like Help more. And it's insane that both of these albums were made in 1 year, by the way. So yeah, I like Rubber Soul a lot, of course. Here, I still cannot say that it's a no skips album. I don't skip anything, but I can see some people not really listening to the songs in between the most well known songs. I don't think there were any hit singles from this album, which is insane too, by the way. Um, of course, the single from this album was We Can Work It Out in Day Tripper. Fantastic song, but the album itself is really worth a listen. I don't think it's a no skips album, unfortunately. Again, not that I skip any songs, but I think some people might find some of them less interesting, like What Goes On, The Word, Run for Your Life. Those are admittedly not very interesting songs. But again, this album's highs are really insane. You got Norwegian Wood, you got In My Life. I mean, come on. It's a crazy good album. And I can see why it inspired so many people, including, of course, the Beach Boys, well, Brian Wilson more specifically. But yeah, Revolver is going to be our first S tier. I mean, come on. I think, what can I possibly say about the experimentation that this album had and just how important it is? I think, like, if someone tell I don't think this is their best album, but if someone tells me that this is their best album, I would be like, yeah, I mean, that's a good answer. Like, I understand why you think so. Um, it's just so good. This is the first album that's like genuinely has does not miss. Even the less well known. This is like, for other albums, if you do not know the lesser known songs, it's like, well, okay, I don't think you're missing out because you know the more well known songs. But for this album, this is the first album for which, if you don't know the lesser known songs, you are missing out because they're so good. Songs like, Good Day Sunshine, She Said, I'm Only Sleeping, um, uh, I Want to Tell You. These songs, For No One, oh my god, For No One is in this record. These songs are not as well known as songs like Taxman, Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine, Tomorrow Never Knows, but they are so good. This album is so good from front to back. The cover is insanely creative. This, again, really positioned the Beatles in the forefront of like uh, the boundaries of music that rock was pushing back then. And it is insane that they were still um, able to play some of the songs from this album live, like Paperback Writer. It's so crazy. But anyway, I love Revolver. Again, this is probably one of my go to Beatle records. I listen to this shit so many times, and I love it every single time. And again, the bass parts for this are starting to get insane. Paul was cooking, and I mean, most people don't appreciate Paul McCartney as a bassist. But if this album is where his bass lines start to become like insanely creative and good. So yeah, Ringo is drumming like hell. It's insane. It sounds so good and punchy. I love the drum sound on Revolver. It's insane. And again, George and John are also excelling. Also, George has 3 songs on this album, which is crazy. They really should have let him play more songs because I believe he had already written Isn't It a Pity by this year. So yeah, they should have let him. Sergeant Pepper's. Ooh. Oh my god. Fuck. Hmm. Hmm. I do like it more than Revolver. I'm not gonna lie. It's just so. I know it's such an over. It's such a cliche, common answer to say, oh, it's the best album of all time. It's not even my favorite Beatles album, but it's just good. I do listen to Sergeant Pepper's more than I do Revolver, And there were no singles off of the album Pepper, except of course Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, two of the finest songs ever made. But the album is really good. Genuinely, it's such a colorful album. This is the, for me, this is the album of the year. This album just screams 1967, and just the, it's insane to believe it's the same group that made all of this records down here. This is where the Beatles really just, they could have died the next day and they would still be as well known as they are right now, um, if all they did was release Sgt. Pepper's. Like, this was such a milestone for music as a whole, man. I mean, just the ideas behind the concept album, it's such a, it like, despite the fact that they were pushing these boundaries, that they were adding some bits of storytelling, that the songwriting is so complex, including like the instruments that they used for songs like Fixing a Hole, Getting Better, fucking Within You Without You. These songs make me cry because of how beautiful they are, and like, they're still bangers, you know, the songs are still bangers. I be singing along to the songs of this album so much, and it shocks me because honestly, to be so experimental and still remain pop, it's crazy, and I wish we had more of this today, but we don't. Magical Mystery Tour, I think it's so fucking underrated. I like it more than Rubber Soul, actually. Um, Actually, I like it more than Help. There you go. I mean, like, of course, the US version of Magical Mystery Tour we're talking about. Um, of course, the second half of the album is some of the finest songs the Beatles ever made, and I'm so happy that we get them in LP form because they were all singles. But honestly, I also really like the first half, like the songs from the movie Magical Mystery Tour. I really like them. Fool in the Hill, Blue Jay Way, Your Mother Should Know is one of my favorite songs by the Beatles, and of course, I Am the Walrus. I mean, they're good. The only two bad songs on this record are maybe the title track, which I still like a lot, and Flying. But yeah, I do listen to this quite a lot, and it is one of my favorite albums. And the picture book that comes with the LP version is really cool too. So I think this album is probably the most overhated album ever by the Beatles. So I'm here to give it the credit it deserves, man. The White Album I would put here. Um, yeah, I would get in frequent arguments with a history teacher I had about whether he thought this was their best album. I thought it was a different one. But yeah, but I, as I get older and the more I listen to the Beatles, I think I can understand why people might even think this is their best album. It's really good, and I've come to appreciate it more now because of just how much it's trying to achieve all the time. It's creative. It really touches about there. No matter what genre of music you like, there is a little bit of it in the White Album, and I think so many this album created entire genres, man. It's insane to think that they would go to this right after Sgt. Pepper's. But yeah, I mean, I like it. There are bangers in some of their most beautiful songs. Some of the, I mean, it's just good music. You can't even just call it rock music anymore. It's just good music. I like it a lot. And I think it's overrated. I think it's misunderstood. But do I think it's as focused as these two? No. I think it loses a lot of focus, and you could tell that because the history of the band at the time. So yeah, that's what brings it down, the fact that it's not such a cohesive project as the other ones. Actually, I think I might put it down to A. But I still really like it. I still listen to it quite a lot. And the Esher demos for them are also really beautiful. Yellow Submarine, it's a D tier. As much as I love Hey Bulldog, one of my favorite songs ever by the Beatles, I do not listen to this album ever. Actually, I don't think I've ever listened to it like front to back, except maybe more than once. But I do really like the movie. And so that's why I kind of like the songs that are exclusive to this album. They're cool. And Hey Bulldog is goaded, but I don't really listen to the rest of it, like the instrumental songs. And yeah, I don't think I want to own this record ever. So, and I don't even know why it's considered an official album, but I guess it does have unique songs, so yeah. Um, Abbey Road, I will be honest and frank with you guys. I think it's the best Beatles album, and it is my favorite. I think they were just peaking. All of them were at their best. This album sounds so good, like it's so well produced, and it's, I mean, obviously because of the technology that existed now by that point in time, they were able to do a lot more with like 8-track machines. Ringo's drums sound insane. Each and every single one of the bass lines here is like an entire song of its own. Um, of course, some of John and George's most iconic songs, like Come Together, Something, I Want You, She's So Heavy, Here Comes the Sun. Paul was also cooking, and I think here you can start to see the trends that each of the Beatles would follow in their subsequent solo careers. After all, this was the last album that they ever recorded together, and it breaks my heart. It really does. But yeah, this is crazy. I think it's a simple answer and maybe a little disappointing when I can understand that, but to me, there's really no debate. It even has the most iconic album cover of all time. This album is also like, it's insane that it's just one record, not a double album. It just feels like such a complete, focused piece, especially the medley on the second side of the record. So good, um, creative, and I don't know, I just love this album to death. It was the first album by them that I really learned to appreciate fully and just learn all about it. As for Let It Be, I think I would put it probably here. It is unfortunate because it does have some of their best songs ever, but this album does have some filler, I would say. Or not filler, but songs that can be skipped in the same way Rubber Soul does, or Help does. Um, Maybe I would even put it here. Like, it's not a bad album by any means, but I don't know, I think the band was at a point in time here where, the tensions between them were really uh, reflecting on the music, and you can see this in the Get Back documentary. It's a shame because they had some really good ideas. And of course, you know what? If Don't Let Me Down was included in this record, it would be a high B or at least a low A. But for some goddamn reason, they left it out of the record, which is why when it comes to Let It Be and the whole Get Back project, I tend to like listen to it as like separate songs, fragments from the sessions, drafts and outtakes. That to me is the essence of this album, but the final product, I don't like Phil Spector's editions. I don't like the fact that George didn't want to put his songs on the rooftop concert, and the fact that George's songs didn't get as much attention. But I don't know. It's nice that we had these songs released. In the same way, I'm glad the songs from Yellow Submarine were released. But I don't think it's anything essential. Even the song Let It Be, um, it's a Paul solo song, let's be honest. But it does have some really nice songs, like, of course, Across the Universe, which again to me just sounds like a John Lennon solo song. The Long and Winding Road, which to me just sounds like a Paul solo song. And George's songs, again, sound like they could honestly have been put in All Things Must Pass and just be produced differently, and they would have been even better than they are here. Does Ringo even have a song here? I don't know. No, he doesn't. That's crazy. But anyway, that is going to be my ranking of the Beatles albums. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I've been talking for 20 minutes now. No wonder my voice is like so strained now. I need to go take a break now. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you agree or disagree, and I will maybe reply if you're nice about your opinion. But of course, my opinion is just my opinion. This is how I rank the albums. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.